Wine is sunlight, held together by water.
Throughout history, wine and beer have been more than mere drinks. They've been sacred elixirs, celebrated and revered. We invite you on a journey through the mythologies of different cultures, exploring how cherished beverages like wine and beer have earned their divine status. The origins of beer and winemaking trace back to ancient Mesopotamia, where the earliest evidence of these practices dates to around 4000 before Common Era. It is here that the first deities related to spirits emerged, highlighting the cultural importance of alcohol in ancient societies. Ninkasi was the Mesopotamian goddess of beer and brewing, associated with its production, consumption, positive and negative effects. Another Mesopotamian goddess associated with beer was Ceres. In Akkadian texts, her name became synonymous with the drink itself. In other sources, she was also associated with wine and honey. Siduri was another beer deity, who played a unique role as a wise tavern keeper, who provided guidance and fermented drinks to Gilgamesh in the famous Epic of Gilgamesh. Ancient Egypt was one of the first civilizations to master the art of brewing beer and producing wine. It is said that Osiris himself gave humans the art of agriculture and taught them how to brew beer. Shesmu was the deity of ointments, perfume and wine. He was associated with festivities, dancing and singing. But he was also the sorcerer of the gods and the one who dismembered bodies, symbolizing the connection between blood and wine. Hathor was a major deity in ancient Egyptian religion. Among her numerous roles, Hathor was cherished as the goddess of music, dance and joy, and had a significant connection to beer and wine, sometimes referred to as the Lady of Drunkenness. Tainenet was primarily the goddess of childbirth and protector of pregnant women, but she was also considered the patron goddess of brewers. Bes was a dwarf god, the protector of households, associated with jolly activities like music, dancing and humor. He was also patron of the beer brewers. Varuni was the Hindu goddess of liquor and intoxication, often described as the four-armed goddess of wine and wisdom. She was the consort of Varuna, god of the sky, oceans and water. Soma was both a god and a divine drink in Hindu mythology. The drink offered immortality to the gods and ancient priests during rituals. As a deity, Soma was the god of sacrifices and was closely associated with the moon. Idi was the god of wine and alcohol in Chinese mythology, mainly in Taoism. He is celebrated as the inventor of winemaking during the reign of Yu the Great. Du Kang is another figure credited with the invention of alcoholic beverages in Chinese legends. He became the deified patron of winemakers in China and Japan. Dionysus was the god of winemaking, revelry, and fertility, symbolizing the power of wine to induce liberation and bliss. He was also god of festivities, theater, as well as insanity and ritual madness. Dionysus held a distinct place among the Olympian gods, forging a crucial link between humans and the divine. Olympus was the personification of the grapevine and lover of Dionysus. He was one of the satyrs, a race of wild, drunken creatures with human and horse features. After death, Dionysus turned his blood into wine. Amphictyonis was a lesser-known goddess of wine and friendship between nations. Her role was to pick grapes and prepare them for the wine. She loved hosting wine parties for the Olympians and getting drunk. Methe was a nymph goddess and the embodiment of drunkenness. She represented the intoxicating power of wine and shared close ties with Dionysus himself. Silenus was a rustic god of the forest, drunkenness and winemaking, a companion and foster father of Dionysus. He was an old, wise satyr who presided over music, drunken joy, drunken dances and gestures. Bacchus was the Roman god of agriculture, wine and fertility, equivalent to the Greek god Dionysus. He spread joy whenever he went, but, when provoked, could unleash vengeance and drive people into madness. Liber, an ancient god of wine, male fertility and freedom that predates Bacchus. He was also called Libia Potter and was a patron deity of Rome's plebeians. Aegir was a divine giant, commander of the seas, god of ale, beer and mead. He brewed the finest ale in all the 9 realms and was known to gods as the host of most amazing parties. Aegir brewed his beer and hosted these parties in his enchanting underwater hall. Sucellus was god of agriculture, forests, and alcoholic drinks among the Celts of Gaul and Lusitanians in pre-Roman and Roman times. He was usually portrayed as a bearded man with a long-handled hammer, carrying a barrel. Goibnu was a Celtic blacksmith god, closely associated with beer. He crafted weapons for the gods, but also brewed a special ale that gave immortality to those who drank it. Dionysus was a Celtic goddess of beer and water. She embodied the ancient craft of beer making, and her name symbolized the role of women in brewing throughout history. Raugupatis and Raugutin were ancient deities closely associated with beer and agriculture. Raugupatis was the god who bestowed life upon grains, turning them into bread and beer, while his wife, Raugutin, was the goddess of beer, mead, and other alcoholic beverages. Pekko was an ancient Finnish and Estonian god of agriculture and brewing. Pekko was crucial in securing abundant harvests and prosperity for the farmers. He was named the protector of the fields and patron of beer brewers. Osmotar was the Finnish goddess of beer. She was responsible for brewing the first beer, helped by woodland creatures like foxes, squirrels, martens and bears. Mabobomwana Weresa, in Zulu religion of southern Africa, the goddess of fertility, who ruled over rainbows, agriculture, harvest, rain and beer. It is said that she taught her people the art of beer making. In some sources, she was called Nomkubulwani and had the ability to transform in any animal. Ogun was a divine spirit revered in several African religions. He was a warrior and a powerful blacksmith, as well as the deity of rum and rum making. He was also called God of Iron and was revered in Yoruba religion, as well as Haitian Vodou and West African Vodun. Yesigi was the African goddess of beer, dancing, and masks, revered by the Dogon people of Mali. She was considered a party girl, a female deity with ample breasts, dancing and holding a beer ladle. Okon was the god of alcohol, intoxication, revelry and strange behavior. He was the creator of pulque, a honey-based fermented drink served by warriors before battle. Okon enjoyed partying, most often along with drinking friend Kakak, the Mayan god of creativity and communication. Ometochtli, also called Tapostacotl, was the god of pulque, drunkenness and fertility. Pulque was a popular alcoholic beverage made from the fermented sap of the maguey or agave plant. He was also closely associated with rabbits, as his name translates, as to rabbits. Mayawel was the Aztec goddess of maguey or agave plant, a cactus used in the production of pulque. She is one of several goddesses of fertility and was known as the woman of the 400 breasts. Ometochtli is a group of deities who meet for frequent drunken parties. They are all associated with pulque and are called the 400 rabbits of Aztec mythology. The group was presided by Ometochtli,